Tigers have long been symbols of strength, power, and majesty. They are among the most recognizable and revered animals on Earth. For centuries, these magnificent big cats have inspired stories, art, and spiritual beliefs across Asia, where they have roamed vast landscapes from the snowy Siberian forests to the dense jungles of Southeast Asia. However, the reality today is starkly different. Tigers, once numbering an estimated 100,000 or more across their historic range, have experienced an alarming decline. Today, fewer than 4,000 wild tigers survive, scattered in isolated pockets across 13 countries. This dramatic reduction is a tragic example of human impact on wildlife and ecosystems. The reasons behind the disappearance of tigers from much of their historic habitat are complex and intertwined, involving a mix of human activities, environmental pressures, and socio-economic factors. Understanding these causes is vital not only for protecting tigers, but also for preserving the biodiversity and ecological balance of their habitats. To delve into why tigers have disappeared, we need to examine key factors such as habitat loss, poaching, human-wildlife conflict, prey depletion, environmental degradation, and the challenges of conservation in a modern world. The foremost cause of tiger decline is habitat loss. Tigers are territorial apex predators that require large expanses of forest, grassland, or mangrove to hunt and breed. Their survival depends on the availability of prey species like deer, wild boar, and buffalo, which in turn rely on healthy ecosystems. Over the past century, rapid human population growth in Asia has led to widespread deforestation and habitat conversion. Forests have been cleared for agriculture, urbanization, infrastructure development, and resource extraction. In countries like India, Indonesia, Thailand, Russia, and Malaysia, forests have shrunk dramatically. Between 1990 and 2015, Southeast Asia lost roughly 30% of its forest cover, a region critical for several tiger subspecies. Agricultural expansion, especially for cash crops like palm oil and rubber, has been a major driver of deforestation. Road building and mining projects fragment habitats further, isolating tiger populations into smaller, disconnected patches. This fragmentation is devastating for tigers. They require large territories. Male tigers can control areas of 60 to 100 square kilometers or more. When forests become fragmented, tigers are forced into smaller pockets that cannot sustain viable populations. This isolation leads to inbreeding, reduced genetic diversity, and increased vulnerability to disease and environmental changes. It also makes it harder for young tigers to find mates and disperse naturally, leading to population declines. The loss of habitat also intensifies human-tiger conflict. As forests shrink and prey numbers decline, tigers increasingly come into contact with human settlements. They may prey on livestock or occasionally attack humans, provoking retaliation killings. This conflict further reduces tiger numbers and damages local support for conservation efforts. Poaching has been another devastating factor in tiger decline. Tigers have long been hunted for their skins, bones, teeth, and other body parts, which are prized in traditional Asian medicine and as status symbols. Despite international bans and legal protections, illegal wildlife trafficking remains a lucrative global black market. The demand for tiger parts is particularly strong in China, Vietnam, and other countries where traditional medicine practices consider tiger bones to have healing properties. Although scientific evidence disproves these claims, the market persists, fueled by cultural beliefs and rising affluence. Tiger skins are also sought after by collectors and as luxury items. Poaching is facilitated by organized criminal networks and weak enforcement in many tiger range countries. Rangers protecting tiger reserves face threats and violence from well-armed poachers. The illegal trade has pushed some tiger subspecies like the Bali and Javan tigers to extinction in the wild. Alongside direct poaching of tigers, the depletion of their prey species through hunting has compounded the problem. In many areas, subsistence and commercial hunting by humans have drastically reduced populations of deer, wild boar, and other animals that form the tiger's diet. Without sufficient prey, tigers are unable to reproduce successfully or sustain healthy populations. This forces them to take greater risks by moving closer to human settlements in search of food, increasing conflict and vulnerability. Human population growth and poverty in many tiger range areas create further pressures. Many rural communities rely heavily on forest for fuelwood, food, and income. Illegal logging, land encroachment, and poaching are sometimes driven by economic necessity rather than malice. Conservation programs that do not address local livelihoods risk alienating communities and losing their cooperation. Environmental factors also contribute to tiger decline. Climate change is affecting tiger habitats by altering temperature and rainfall patterns. In the Sundarbans, a mangrove forest on the India-Bangladesh border, the world's largest tidal halophytic mangrove forest and home to the unique Bengal tiger subspecies, adapted to saltwater. Rising sea levels threaten to submerge habitat. Increased frequency of extreme weather events like floods and droughts can disrupt ecosystems and prey availability. Pollution and habitat degradation from mining, agriculture, and urban runoff further stress tiger environments. Fragmented and degraded habitats are less resilient to environmental changes, making tiger populations more vulnerable. Another significant challenge for tiger survival is the lack of political will, funding, and effective governance for conservation. While international treaties like CITES regulate the trade in endangered species, enforcement at the national and local levels varies widely. Corruption and insufficient resources hamper anti-poaching efforts and habitat protection. Protected areas designated for tiger conservation sometimes suffer from inadequate management, lack of infrastructure, and conflicts with local people over land use. Some tiger reserves have experienced paper park syndrome, where legal protection exists but is not effectively enforced. Successful tiger conservation requires multifaceted strategies that integrate scientific research, law enforcement, community involvement, and international cooperation. Over the past several decades, global and national efforts have helped slow the decline and even achieve modest increases in some populations. India's Project Tiger, launched in 1973, is a landmark conservation program that established tiger reserves and intensified monitoring and protection. It is credited with stabilizing and increasing tiger numbers in India, which today holds about 70% of the world's wild tigers. Similarly, Nepal has seen encouraging increases in its tiger population due to strong government commitment and community-based conservation. Technological advances have greatly aided tiger monitoring and protection. Camera traps, drones, satellite imagery, and DNA analysis allow conservationists to better understand tiger populations, track movements, and identify poaching hotspots. This data supports targeted anti-poaching patrols and habitat management. Community participation is essential. Many successful programs involve local people in conservation, providing education, alternative livelihoods, and incentives to reduce poaching and habitat destruction. Ecotourism, when carefully managed, can generate revenue and create economic incentives for tiger protection. International collaboration is vital because tigers range across multiple countries. Transboundary reserves, joint enforcement efforts, and data sharing improve the chances of maintaining connected populations and reducing illegal trade. Organizations like the Global Tiger Forum and WWF coordinate these efforts. Despite these positive developments, challenges remain enormous. Poaching persists due to high demand and lucrative prices on the black market. Habitat loss continues with expanding agriculture and infrastructure projects. Climate change poses uncertain but serious threats. Sustainable development and balancing human needs with wildlife conservation are complex tasks. Tiger range countries face pressures to develop economically and improve livelihoods, which can conflict with conservation goals. Integrating conservation into broader land use planning and rural development policies is crucial. Education and raising awareness globally help reduce demand for tiger products and build support for conservation. Changing cultural perceptions about wildlife use and promoting scientific knowledge are ongoing efforts. Ultimately, the survival of tigers depends on humanity's ability to act responsibly. Tigers are keystone species that maintain the health of ecosystems. Their loss would signal deeper environmental crises that affect countless other species and human communities. Protecting tigers requires protecting their habitats and prey, stopping illegal wildlife trade, resolving human-wildlife conflicts and building resilient communities. It demands cooperation across borders, sectors, and cultures. Tigers are not just animals. They are symbols of the wild world's beauty and power. Their disappearance would be a profound loss for the planet and future generations. Our choices today will determine whether tigers continue to roam wild landscapes or become memories in history books. Through dedication, innovation, and compassion, we can ensure a future where the roar of the tiger still echoes in forests and jungles around the world.